Hi, I'm Marc Davidson from Checkpoint, back with Rob Smithers, CEO of Miercom. In this final video, we're diving into the vulnerabilities test results. If you missed the first video, we covered why these tests matter and shared the malware findings. The second video breaks down the phishing URL tests. Be sure to check that one out too. All right, let's get going. So the first thing I wanted to talk about today is the CISA known exploited vulnerabilities, or KEVs. So Rob, in this section of the report, looked at KEVs. Can you tell us where these came from and why they are so important?
Sure, absolutely. The CISA, or the Cybersecurity Infrastructure Security Agency, well, that's a mouthful, uh, produces a catalog of known exposure vulnerabilities. So they take the known, say there's 250 some thousand known vulnerabilities over the last 20 years that are in a national vulnerability database. CISA distills that down to 1,000 on point known to be exploited vulnerabilities now. The most lethal, the most current, what's going on now.
Okay, let's look at some of the results. So based on Miercom's analysis, Checkpoint was able to mitigate the highest number of KEVs from the CISA catalog. Rob, do you have any comment about why that's important or how it was done?
Sure, and they don't have to take our word for it. This number, anyone can validate from the CISA KEV right from their website, has a listing of vendor coverage that you could use from there. We did in fact validate as well, applying exploits, active exploits pertaining to those vulnerabilities. So, well done, Checkpoint, for capturing, for having coverage, if you will, for most of those exploits. And this was confirmed both in active testing as well as database lookup for the CISA KEV coverage.
Got it. And there's the flip side of that as well. It's how many KEVs per firewall product, right? And Checkpoint again has the lowest, and we're really proud of this. Only one CVE, whereas some of the other vendors have a lot more than us. Cisco with 21, 16 for Fortinet, and Palo 11. And again, Rob, could you tell me what the significance of this? What does this mean for the customer?
Less is better. You've Checkpoint's only reported one. I believe it was last fall of last year. It was quickly addressed.
The other thing we want to talk about now, Rob, is the active testing. It's not over yet, right? There are thousands of CVEs, like you mentioned, and so how did Miercom test each vendor's effectiveness at mitigating this wider range of vulnerabilities?
Right. So we know what the vulnerabilities are. We know what the database reports, per vendor coverage. But now let's move into active testing, where we're going to throw some offensive, let's call them strikes. We're going to do some attacks that take advantage of these potential vulnerabilities. So we apply a key site breaking point test system in this case, to throw attacks to challenge the system under test to block these attacks relating to these known vulnerabilities.
Well, let's take a look at the results. This chart shows how effectively each vendor mitigates the breaking point exploits, and Checkpoint leads with 98% average block rate, followed by Fortinet, Palo, Zscaler, and Cisco with 42.6. Rob, was there any commonality between this test and the KEV analysis?
I mean, you definitely see a trend, right? You see a similar trend, but I mean, this where we have to walk the walk. This is what we observed, the vendors' products, as presented for testing. What do they actually block? So, similar line of exploits challenging those known vulnerabilities, but this is active test results. So, Checkpoint kind of held true. It reported coverage for CISA and our active testing proved that. The other vendors, they might have fallen a little under, and we don't quite know why. I just know this is what we saw when we applied the testing and we applied these attacks, and this is what the vendors blocked.
Rob, thanks for helping us understand the details of your test. If anyone wants to see all the results, download the report now.